soup boycott back in the 70s, and in that case got Campbell's to put more money down at the bottom and use that as an inducement to bring the growers in so the growers could pay the wages and the benefits that they were seeking, that, you know, the flock was seeking. And they're actually still doing that very successfully. Now they're currently going after R.J. Reynolds and the tobacco fields in North Carolina. So that's kind of like, you know, and again, as I mentioned, farm workers realize that they have to get wages, you know, and not just a code of conduct. And then the third model, which I think has promise, is kind of a domestic fair trade model, which completely, you know, reconfigures how you organize. You know, you don't go after growers, you know, you organize growers to go with you, and you don't go after the big companies, you know, but you kind of get the Costco's and stuff, you know, to buy your product, and you know, then you get the consumers to you know, to support that, and then it's kind of like a cooperative model, and then you get money down at the bottom that way. You know, but that's kind of still in the process of being thought out and developed. So it's you know, a lot of stuff going on.
Question here.
Yeah, I have two questions and a comment. The first question is what happened with the Starbucks person this morning? What could they possibly say about corporate responsibility? Second question is, Lupe, you mentioned the Burger King controversy with the tomato growers and everything. And I was wondering if it's okay to get an update about that, because I'm not sure what's happening. And if it's not okay to get an update here, where would I get information about that? Okay. And then my comment goes back to, I think, what was the second question asked about, were there students who went to get jobs in the hat factory? And I just wanted to make a comment that in the 1970s, I was part of the Workers' Human Alliance wing of SDS at Harvard. And some of my colleagues actually went to work in some of the factories that we were trying to pass out literature to the workers to form an alliance with them. And it was a really interesting experience for them, and I'm sure the workers. They were working to have these intellectuals who were working on it. But it also gave the intellectuals a good basis for understanding what it was they were organizing about. So, questions, my two questions.
For the first question, I'll just note that we do have the morning sessions on tape.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall.
You get to be a viewer.
Let me just give you some background on the Burger King campaign. The Coalition of Immokalee Workers is a small worker center actually in a rural town called Immokalee, Florida, and made up of largely immigrant, not largely, 100% immigrant, largely undocumented workforce. And they went out, they decided, again through analysis, they decided that the real power, a large part of the power lay in the end buyer. And about 5 years ago, they focused on young brands rather, Taco Bell, and they did the Taco Bell boycott. And you know, again, a lot of tactics, you know, like having 50 workers doing a 10-day hunger strike in front of the Taco Bell headquarters in urban California, and you know, a lot of support from student groups and a lot of publicity. They finally got young brands to pay a penny more per pound and agree to a code of conduct. You know, the young brands had agreed several times, had offered them the code of conduct, but they refused it, knowing that they needed, you know, money down at the bottom. And through a lot of the innovative tactics, especially like shareholder actions. In one case, they got like a 43% vote of the shareholders, you know, in support of a resolution that they had introduced, asking for a study of farm worker conditions. And so then after they, and it's also interesting because the end result is not really it wasn't a union, but it was they would put the penny a pound, the brand, the fast food restaurant was the one actually paying the penny a pound, you know, to the workers. And since workers work on a piecemeal basis, well, they were picking tomatoes for young brands. It almost doubled their wages, from 35, 40 cents a pound to 70 cents a pound. And then using that model, they went after McDonald's, and after like a year campaign, McDonald's also agreed to the same thing. And then they're now going after Burger King because as Americans' buying habits are shifting, almost 50% of the produce now is bought at restaurants instead of at the retail store because people eat out more. So through research they found out that these brands were vulnerable because they buy a lot of the produce and their target consumers are students, where you can get a lot of support. But Burger King is from Miami, based in Miami, and it seems like they're really tied into the Florida Growers Association, Tomato Growers Association, and the Tomato Growers Association is fighting back. It's a large group of growers that control, the winter tomato supply. So they're engaged in a real fight with the Tomato Growers Association and Burger King. That's on their side right now, but there isn't a boycott of Burger King yet. They're still trying to settle this. But that's kind of the story. But to get more information on this, go online at CIW, short for Coalition of Immokalee Workers, CIW-online.org. And it's an excellent website that they use very effectively in terms of coordinating activities, of their supporters across the country.
Yeah, I know there are a lot of other questions. We've eaten into our break time, and I want to thank our presenters and volunteer that they'll use part of their coffee break to answer any questions if you want to corner them over here. So thank you very much.
That was you.
I have no memory for faces. I completely have. You're the third UW faculty member who I know and like and who